book, The Story Vine, and it's called The Mosquito. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when people still used yarn and weaved their clothes, there was a woman and she was sitting doing her weaving. She weaved in and out and in and out. She heard a buzzing noise. Bzz. And she looked all around, but she couldn't see anything. So she continued her weaving, in and out, in and out. She heard more buzzing. She looked around. And then she looked at her weaving. She saw a giant mosquito. And it buzzed bzzz around her head. It buzzed near her chin. It buzzed over her head and around. Bzzz. It was driving her crazy. It buzzed and she just couldn't take it anymore. So she got ready, and as it buzzed in front of her face, she snapped her hands, and that was the end of that mosquito. My second story is Bark George, adapted from the book by Jules Pfeiffer. One beautiful morning, a mama dog and her puppy, George, were outdoors, and she was trying to teach George how to bark. She took a look at her puppy and she said, "Bark, George." And George went, "Meow, meow." "Oh no, George, that's not right. Dogs go woof, woof. Cats go meow." "Let's try it again, George. Now bark, George." And George went quack, 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 quack. "Oh no, George, ducks go quack. Dogs go woof, woof. Now try it again, George." George took a deep breath and George went oink, oink, oink. "Oh no, George, that's not right. Pigs go oink, dogs go woof, woof." "Let's try it again, George." George took a deep breath and he went moo, moo. "Oh no, George, that's not right," said his mother. "Cows go moo, dogs go woof, woof." Now, Mama Dog was so concerned that she took George to the vet. When they got to the vet looked at George and he said, "Bark, George." And George went, "Meow, meow." So the vet reached deep down inside of George and pulled out a cat. "Okay, George," says the vet. "Let's try it again. Bark, George." And this time George went quack, 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 quack. "That's not right," said the vet. So he reached down deep, deep into George and he pulled out a duck. "Okay, George," said the vet. "Try it again. Bark, George." And this time George went oink, 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 oink. Said the vet, and he reached down deep, deep, deep into George and he pulled out a pig. "Oh my, George," said the vet. "Okay, try it again." And this time George went moo, moo. "Oh no," said the vet. So the vet reached deep, 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 deep down inside of George and pulled out a cow. "Oh my," said the vet. "Okay, George, bark." And this time George went woof, woof. Well, Mama Dog was so excited, she kissed the vet. Mwah! She kissed the cow. Mwah! She kissed the pig. Mwah! She kissed the duck, mwah, and she kissed the cat, mwah. She took her puppy George and they were headed home. She was so excited that she wanted to show George off to everyone. So she looked at her puppy and she said, "Bark, George." And George went, "Hello." And it's my story edit, adapted from the book by Odds Bodkin. Once, a long time ago in ancient Japan, there lived a sailmaker named Osamu. Osamu didn't have much, just a small house and a pot for tea. One night, during the stormy season, Osamu heard a funny noise from outside his house. Osamu went outside and found a beautiful white crane crumpled from the rain and storm. Osamu brought the crane into his home, fed it some warm rice, and let it warm up by the fire. The crane had most beautiful dark eyes. Once the storm was done, Osamu released the crane and went back to his life. A few weeks later, another storm arrived. And this time, during the storm, Osamu heard a knock at the door. And there, when he opened the door, was a beautiful young woman. Osamu couldn't believe it. He helped the poor young woman into his house. He fed her tea and some rice, and he asked her lots of questions. But the only answer she would give him was that her name was Yukiku. Yukiku continued to live with Osamu, and soon he had taken her as his wife. She never answered anything about her family or where she was from, but they settled into a happy relationship. Osamu would weave his sails and Yukiku would keep the house and take care of him, and they were both very happy. But as time went on, times got tough and they ran out of food. Yukiku came to Osamu and said, "Osamu, I can weave a magic sail and you can sell it, and that'll help us. It'll bring us lots of gold." Osamu was surprised that Yukiku knew how to weave, and he said, "A magic sail? You can weave a magic sail?" Yukiku said, "Yes, I can, but you must promise not to peek while I'm weaving." Osamu promised, and Yukiku went into the weaving room and started to weave. Osamu waited outside. He waited a full day, hearing nothing from Yukiku, just the sound of the loom working. At the end of the day, Yukiku came out with a beautiful white sail. Osamu took the sail. It was the lightest sail he'd ever felt. He listened and the sail had the sound of the breeze. And he said, "Yukiku, you wove the wind into this sail. This is amazing." And he took his sail down to the market and he sold it for 6 months' worth of gold. Yukiku and Osamu spent the next 6 months trying to make things better, but times stayed rough and slowly they just ran out of gold, and soon they were down to only a day's worth of rice and a pinch of tea. Osamu looked at Yukiku and said, "Yukiku, we need you to weave another sail. We need more gold. We're going to starve." Yukiku sighed and she said, "Weaving sails takes so much out of me, Osamu. This will have to be the last sail I weave." Osamu looked at Yukiku and promised, "Yes, this will be the last sail. Things have to get better. Please, Yukiku, please weave us another sail." Yukiku promised to weave another sail as long as Osamu promised not to peek. She went into the weaving room and closed the door. Osamu sat outside. He could hear the loom weaving. A full day passed and no sign of Yukiku. He knocked at the door. "Yukiku, do you need some food? Do you need some water? Yukiku, can I help?" but no answer. Osamu took a deep breath, but he remembered his promise and he stayed out. Another full day passed before Yukiku came out carrying another sail. Osamu took the sail and took it right to the market, where he sold it again for another 6 months' worth of gold. He was thrilled, but he could see how tired poor Yukiku was. Time passed and things got better, so Yukiku just kept house and Osamu kept weaving. But eventually a rich ship sailed into port, and off of that ship came a rich captain looking for the sailmaker who had made such marvelous magic sails. He came to Osamu and he said, "Osamu, I want you to weave me a sail, and if you weave me one of your magic sails, I will give you a lifetime of gold." Osamu was shocked. A lifetime of gold for one sail? He said yes to the sailmaker, forgetting his promise to Yukiku, and ran to the house. And he said, Yukiku, you have to weave another sail. There is a man who is willing to pay us a lifetime of gold for one sail. Yukiku looked at him and she said, "Osamu, I can't weave another sail. You promised." And Osamu said, "You have to weave another sail." Yukiku sighed and she said, "I will weave one more sail, but you must promise not to peek while I weave, and that this is the last sail." Osamu promised eagerly, thinking about a lifetime of gold. And Yukiku went into the weaving studio, closed the door, and went to work. Osamu waited outside. A day passed, no Yukiku. A second day passed, and no Yukiku. At this point, Osamu was worried. He knocked at the door. "Yukiku, do you need anything? Some food? Some water? Do you need some help?" But there was no answer. Osamu was worried, but Osamu also thought, why does only Yukiku know how to weave a sail? If I knew how to weave the magic sail, I could help her. And with that thought, Osamu broke his promise. He opened the door and he peeked in. And what he saw was the white crane weaving its feathers into the sail. The crane looked at him, and at that he realized that the crane and Yukiku had the same dark eyes. The crane made a sad noise, and it flew away. Osamu was left with no sail and no Yukiku. And sadly, he waited and waited, but he never saw Yukiku or the crane again.